MarkRogersTV and Last Word on Sports, just about a month away from Oregon State spring practice. We bring in head coach Gary Andersen to help us set the stage. Thanks so much for joining us, Coach.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
So considering the last two coaching stints as a head coach at Wisconsin for a couple of years, before that at Utah State, you spent a ton of time at Utah. So this is your first full exposure to the Pac-12. So this is your second spring practice. Talk about the transition, where you found the program there in Corvallis when you got there last year, and just your thoughts about being maybe a little bit more comfortable this spring knowing what you've got.
Well, Mark, I think the biggest thing is you learn a lot about a league when you're in it for a year. This is a tremendous league. You have to play at a high level to win football games, and that's great. It's an honor for us to be part of what I think is the best conference in college football. That's obviously debated by whoever wants to debate it, but that's my belief, and I've been fortunate to be in some very good conferences. So we've gained tremendous respect. We understand where we sit from a recruiting base. Our best place is to go recruit, and how we want to recruit, what our plan is, what our school is about. We have some very unique things, which every school does, and for us to sit back and have an idea of what we want to recruit to, how we want to recruit to, we have that plan. I think even more importantly than that is we believe in the structure of this university, from the small town to how the community is intertwined within the student body is intertwined within the student athletes. As a staff, we all took an opportunity to be here because we wanted to be here. So we feel comfortable there. Secondly, you go through the whole process one time, and you should be better. And I believe we are better. I think this coaching staff is well in place to, number one, recruit. Secondly, take care of kids, which is the most important things that coaches do. But I would say this: we've all worked together at some point, and some have been here. There's some new coaches this year, but they're not unfamiliar with how we go about things and how we want to continue down the road. And then lastly, I would say we're very blessed and lucky to be in an opportunity with the university now that is truly moving forward with the football program. Yes, the new facility is a huge part of that. It'll put us on the cutting edge. And quite frankly, in this league, you better be on the cutting edge of facilities because most everybody is. But past that, our ability to get better within the weight room structure of our people that are in that weight room that are coaching our kids, our academic structure, to get better with the people that are around our kids. I love to always say to kids, it's nice to have nice things, but it's nicer to have the correct people behind the desks and in those offices. And that's going to allow us to move faster than anything else as we continue to rebuild the program.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned the facilities. It almost becomes an arm race the way it's been set up in college football over the last 10 years. The recruiting class that you brought in with 24 commits, I think a lot of people were pleasantly surprised that follow your program in regards to the quality of the class. 4 four-star recruits, Shurod Thompson, a top 10 safety. You had objectives, obviously, going into the recruiting period. Did you feel that you met those?
I don't know if anything's ever perfect. So when you sit down and you break down a recruiting class, I was pleased with the way our coaches recruited. I thought we did a tremendous job of team recruiting. We try to be different in recruiting, and everybody has their little edges where they try to maybe be a little bit different, but we are still going to keep the idea that recruiting is relationship-based. And it starts that way and it ends that way, I believe. There's all those things in between that kids are involved in these days, and it's all fun for them, but it's still a relationship-based business. Did we meet our objectives in a lot of areas? Absolutely, yes. We evened out our classes, and as far as what we think as a staff, how many kids we want on offense, how many on defense, how many on special teams. We want to be 42, 40, and 3. I mean, that's where we want to sit and get ourselves in a position to break us down by offense, defense, special teams. Again, that's never perfect, but we're much better, and the amount of kids that are in each class is much cleaner than it has been. I think we recruited some talented young men. We'll see. Hey, the proof is out there on the field as they continue to grow and develop, but everybody on signing day says they had a great class. I like our kids. I'm proud of the staff. I'm proud of the kids that hung with us and put their name on that dotted line, and we'll see how good football players they are as we continue to build them and as they fit into our program.
Coach, if you look at the game log from last year, you got blown out a few times. I don't know if that specifically tells this story. I was locked in from wire to wire, gun to gun on the Stanford game and the Michigan game. You get a horrible special teams play against Michigan, a game that you were in for a half, and that kind of set things unraveling there against Stanford. You were in the game until early fourth quarter, played extremely well. The quarterback situation, you got Seth Collins, who gave Stanford fits. In particular, that was probably his best passing game of the season. Two other young players. Your thoughts about the quarterback situation as you go into spring practice, and is there a set starter or is it completely wide open?
Well, first of all, it was a tough year, and you were exactly right, and we don't run from that. This is a team that was building. We all need to do a better job, but our expectation level is to win in this conference, to win conference games and play meaningful games in the month of November, and that is the push, and we're working to change that culture. Within the quarterback position, it is very, very important. Seth was in our program. Seth has opted to transfer, and that's where that sits. Next up on the docket is Marcus McMarion is there. Marcus came in, and I'm proud of Marcus. He came in here when we first got here. There were 7 quarterbacks. He battled his way through it. He worked his way up. He fell back down a little bit, worked his way up, fell back down a little bit, and he ended up doing some great things in that Oregon game as we went through there, and he was basically the starter in that Oregon game. So Marcus is right there battling for the spot. Daryl Garrettson, who transferred from Utah State, sat out last year. Daryl's in the mix as far as where we sit there. Excited about Daryl. He's ready to go now. So Daryl and Marcus are going to get the majority of the snaps. We're not ready to say this guy's the starter yet. And, we'll have Mason Moran, who's a young man that we signed, a quarterback from Arizona. Excited to get him here, and he will be in spring ball. So our goal is to have 4 quarterbacks on scholarship. We don't have 4. We have 3 right now. But we're going to have all 3 of those kids in spring ball, all still young. I'm excited to watch them play.
Storm Bars Woods was a force in the Pac-12 when he was healthy. He's gone. You bring back 4 pass catchers that were the most productive that you had throwing the football to. The running back position seems to be wide open. Offensive line, you'll have to address that. But the personnel seems to be pretty well set up at the other positions on offense.
Yeah, we have some returners on the offensive line that are exciting. And they've worked extremely hard getting themselves prepared for spring ball. They'll continue to do that, and there's a lot of reps sunk into those kids, and they're going to be the core. We need to run the ball. Okay, we need to be a tough football team that can out-physical people late in games, and those are big statements. Those are big words, but you have to be able to win and get in this league and play the style of football that we want. The wide receivers, expectation level for our wide receivers has got to grow from myself to the coaches to the kids to the weight room to the trainers. We need to make big-time plays. And when I say that, not the easy plays. We need to catch the contested balls. We need to get our toe in when there's an inch left to get our toe in, whatever it takes to change the game in our favor and make the plays that some people say are easy, but we need to make those very difficult plays. At the running back spot, there's 7 deep stacked up in there at running back coming into spring ball. Ryan Nall had a tremendous Civil War, did a great job. He's definitely catapulted himself to the top of that list right now as we go in. He was a freshman, yes, but he did some great things last year as he continued to grow and develop, had a great offseason. I think another freshman, Paul Lucas, came in there, was very dynamic at different times and different settings. He'll play some wide out for us. He'll play some running back for us. You're going to have to know where he is on the field at all times. So youthful at the running back position. But I'm excited to see, that's the construction going on in the background for the new facility. So bear with us. We love the construction. But just in a nutshell, that running back group is going to be fun to watch in spring, and how we grow and develop. Creating competition for this football team is part of changing the culture, and that's what we try to do at every position on offense, defense, and special teams.
Yeah, that's a good sound when the guys are out there pounding nails.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Coach, when we look at the defense, you mentioned it off the top, the Pac-12 so deep in regards to talent, and I don't know if that shows up year to year anywhere more so than it does at quarterback and wide receiver. This league churns out quarterbacks and wide receivers like none other year in, year out. So defensively, that's difficult when you have skill on the other side of the football at that level. So you had a rough time in regards to points per game, yards per game, but the plus side is you bring back a ton of production from last year. Do you feel that those players have grown?
Well, they need to. I believe the first thing we did is I sat back, I looked myself right square in the mirror and say, hey, how can we get better? In all areas, but if we just focus on the defensive side, we were not nearly multiple enough on the defensive side of the ball last year to cause issues for quarterbacks, to cause pre-snap awareness issues for an offensive line. The way we move, we've always been a defense that prides ourselves on, being able to not really get tagged up in certain situations and cause some issues with our pre-snap alignments and the pre-snap awareness of the offense. So that's a place we're looking to drastically improve. That's important. Our techniques and our fundamentals. We were very young last year. We had a number of kids that played. If you look at Manasseh went from an inside backer to an outside backer to the field side backer to the boundary backer just because of what we had within numbers. Now Manasseh this spring is going to settle in and be at one position. So we expect that to truly help the kids. And, it's hard for kids to bounce around like that, but they didn't whine about it. They didn't kick and scream. They knew it was by necessity because of a lot of situations took place to get us to where we were where those kids were playing. I think the coaching staff, with Kevin Clune as the defensive coordinator, we've moved Chad to the outside linebacker spot. We're going to have 5 coaches on defense. Coach Odom will now be involved with the safeties. Corey Hall, new coach for us, will be involved with the corners. And then they're going to have to deal with the guy that's coaching the defensive line now, which is myself. So I think that, getting 5 guys on defense was imperative for us with this young team. If we want to get structured in this league to have a chance to stop people, you're right, it's dynamic. People are going to score points. You've got to be able to make things happen and change the line of scrimmage in your favor and make some big-time plays to get people off pace. If they just line up and they feel good about things, it's a lot like playing Air Force. If Washington State feels comfortable every snap and they're in their down and distance, good luck. Cal Berkeley, same way. Arizona, same way. I can go on and on. You've got to get them off pace, and special players do that with special schemes.
You not only have to play 9 games within the league, and there are no soft spots there, but you go out and you schedule a solid Minnesota team out of the Big Ten and Boise State, who is used to winning like almost 90% of its games.
Yeah, it's a very difficult schedule, and in today's day and age, if you're going to play in this conference, you have a difficult schedule, really, no matter what you do in the other games that you schedule. But, going to play Minnesota is a great opportunity for us to go out and be involved in the Pac-10, or in the Big Ten and the Pac-12 play, and I think that's a great game for us. Boise State, tremendous program. They win a bunch of games. They're very well coached, and they've got good football players. They're coming in here, so that'll be a great opportunity for us. So, what we've got to do is worry about winning a game, and then we'll go to the next game and get to the next game. But, our motto throughout this whole year is bottom line is we want to get up in the morning, we want to start again. And it's exciting for us to be in that spot. We're worried about getting to day one of spring ball with another workout in the weight room tomorrow. But challenging schedule. Everyone's going to be challenged in this conference, but we're working every day to get better. We have a long ways to go. We're not going to talk about what we're going to be. We're just going to sit back and say how we're going to get it done and be business-like every single day. And live in the heart, as we like to say.
All right, Oregon State head coach Gary Andersen joining us. Spring practice, March 28th, spring game slated for April 16th. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Mark. Have a great day. Go Beavs.